How do I stop these questions from coming to me, Lavelle? Because I understand they have all these questions about these areas. I understand why they are asking me these questions, but I want it to stop because I don't want to be the one to always have to answer these questions. How do we stop this, Lavelle? All right. So here's where you have to actually set that standard. And the standard in this case is a decision standards that you need to set and build in your business. How do you do that? Let's talk about it. There are four things that need to be set to make your decision standard. And one of them you probably heard me talk about a million times. So I'm going to leave that one for the last one, right? But there are four things that you have to have in place in order to have a decision standard. The first one is the goal or the outcome, right? What does that look like? That needs to be something that you understand, that they understand, especially if you have newbies coming in, right? The other one is the guardrails. And the guardrails are, what decisions can they make without you? What decisions can they independently make that do not require you to tell them, yeah, that's a good decision. No, that's not a good decision. They need to understand what those guardrails are. The third one is the escalation point. Now, the escalation point is, okay, they understand the guardrails, they understand what they're responsible for, but they're in a particular situation where they're like, ooh, I don't know if I can make that decision. So let me give you an example. So for example, let's say a lot of you now are hiring people to be like do your sales calls. I've seen that a lot with a couple of businesses. You're hiring people to do sales calls, and they are, let's say you have a client coming in that the guardrails that you set are, you either pay in full, you pay in 6 months or a year, you have payment plans, or you use like a firm or Klarna, whatever those things are that people are using now, right? You have those guardrails in place, but you have somebody that's on the phone with this person and they're like, ooh, I really want this person. I think they're really a good fit for this program, but they got declined by Klarna. I don't know how that works, but I think it's like you can get declined. They got declined by Klarna or a firm. They can't really do the payment plan options that we have in place, but I really feel like they would benefit from being in this program. That's an escalation point where you can be like, okay, if we want to do something special for them, I need to go have a conversation with the CEO because I cannot be making decisions about the CEO's business and revenue without having that conversation. So that's an example of an escalation point. Let me give you another one in the project space. So let's say we're working on a project, something is launching, let's say in August, and the team comes back and says, ooh, we need to add this thing in there. But if we add this thing in there, I feel like I'm in IT now when I'm saying this one. But if we add this thing in there, that's going to delay the project for like a month, right? Where the guardrails you might have put in for the project manager is, if it might bump something a week, sure, we can take that. So as a project manager, if it's going to bump it maybe a couple of weeks, as a project manager, you have the right to make that decision. But if it's going to bump it like by a month, ooh, that's an exclamation point. I mean, an escalation point. Why am I saying exclamation? That's an escalation point. Let's get that word right. That's an escalation point where you have to have a conversation with the CEO of the business because they may have been counting on, let's say may have been counting on that revenue for Q2, and you're saying, oh, it's going to take a month. So now that revenue is moving into Q3. That might be a conversation because they might have to have discussions with their accountant and be like, okay, we were expecting revenue to come in this quarter. It's not coming in until next quarter. What adjustments do I need to go make to make sure like my vendors, my contractors, people are still paid on time? Because now the money that was coming in to pay them during that month isn't coming until later. So that might be an escalation point because, again, as the business owner, you might be like, okay, wait a minute now. We moving something a month. Is it really necessary? Can we launch it the way that it is so we can still get the revenue that we want? Or does this really constitute us moving it a month to get this last thing in that will actually benefit the people who are getting the thing, right? So that might be an escalation point. Now, the last one, y'all heard me talk about this all the time. The very last one is documentation. You're going to hear me say it all the time. You're going to hear me say you need to write SOPs. You need to have things documented. That's the last thing that you need to have in place so that the decision framework that you're building in your business doesn't live in your head. It doesn't all come to you. That's why all these things are coming to you, because a lot of this stuff, it still lives in your head and it's not documented somewhere that people can go look somewhere else.